So, hey everybody, welcome to Kinger's Conversations with myself, Brian Kingston, and my dad, Ian Kingston. Maybe it'd be good to talk a little bit about yourself and what your background is, just so if this is the first time people are hearing you, or um, maybe they could hear a bit about you, and I could do the same for myself.
Okay, so I am in business for over 30 years. I have my own business, a training business called Essential Training. I'm primarily aimed at executive coaching, team facilitation, and business communications, helping people to be the best versions of themselves in a business context, primarily is where I'm hired in, and of course that applies to life. So it's bringing humanity to business. In a way, I have a simple hanger I call that I kind of overarches my business called Hope. So H for heart, O for openness, P for present, and E for energy. So what I like to do is come from a heartfelt space, get people to do what their heart will sing from. And I was walking with someone today in coaching, and we were talking about what he truly loves to do, and I was asking what he's going to be when he grows up, and that's a theme for most of my conversations. And this is a 38-year-old who is facing a crossroads in his career, and he was laughing heartily going up a mountain and coming down a mountain at the thought of what he's going to do when he grows up. But what we were getting into is the heart of what he really loves to do, and being open with each other to the extent that I was giving him feedback that is very straight and direct, and he was being honest with me about what he wanted to be doing and where he wanted to be going. The present is about the now, and living for the now, and being present. And it's not an easy thing to do. It's not something that I have totally mastered, but I know that the more present I am, the more that happens around me. And then the E is for energy. And I believe that we just trade in energy. We are just a bundle of energy. And that's coming out in all sorts of ways as we communicate with people, as we move around the world. So I like to work on having my energy be as positive and effervescent and as aligned to bring me in the right direction as I can. Of course, my energy is off at times, and there's things that affect my energy, and there's people affect my energy, and I affect my energy. So they're the four things that kind of overarch what I'm about and how I go about it.
Wow, I've never heard you speak about it like that before. I've met so many of your clients and friends and colleagues, and I've seen the impact that you've had on working with them over the last 30 years, from CEOs to a yoga teacher to anyone, to someone's son or daughter or colleague or friend. But the way you described there, packaged it really nicely for me to understand where you come from, that HOPE. And definitely I've seen the heart in the work that you do, and the energy that you bring and that people get from working with you. A little bit myself, I'm 29 years old, living in Vancouver, Canada, working software sales for an educational company, and have traveled all over the world. And yeah, love to travel, love to read, love to learn things. I've a master's degree in philosophy and sociology, studying how uh, social groups find themselves and how people come to their true self. And that's really what my passion is. And I think it's a constant journey for all of us, no matter if we're 29, 59, 9. Uh, and that's why I'm excited about these conversations, because I feel like I've learned a lot, but I feel like I have a lot to learn. So that's me. And I'm excited to have more of these conversations.
Okay, let the conversations begin. Hope to create a space through our conversations that allow you to get a view on life as we're living it on two different sides of the planet. Brian is over in Vancouver. I'm in Wicklow, County Wicklow in Ireland. I live under a mountain. Brian lives next door to the mountains, and we hope to bring a collective wisdom from around the world. So the things that we're interested in, the things that stoke us, the things that light our fires, and the things that annoy us, the things that frustrate us, the challenges in our lives.
Yeah.
I'm entering a chapter of my life which is heading towards the finishing of my book of life. And so I look and see there's a couple of chapters to go probably.
Hopefully
And
not
then,
too soon. Like
no,
keep her ticking on for longer.
absolutely. Well, you see, chapters could be 10 years a chapter, like.
Yeah.
Um, and that can sound heavy, but it's like in terms of career, like I'm 59 now. So I'm looking at the next couple of chapters and what they bring me. And, I'm looking at this new thing called Tinternet and the World Wide Web and all of that. On a serious level, it is like the world has just opened up in a way that we could never imagined as it closed down.
Mm.
So it had to close to truly open it.
Yeah, like with everything that happened with the coronavirus, COVID-19, and the whole world has seemed to change in a matter of months, in a matter of weeks, and everybody's gone to remote working. A lot of people have been laid off, and it's changed the world. And I think there's so many things that have happened and have negatively influenced people, but one thing benefit for that I found personally in my own life is I'm connecting more with people halfway across the world, back home in Ireland, or friends and family in other places, through technology. And I think this has, I've said for years that I'd love to do more work with you, Dad, and just learn more from you. And I think that this has opened up the opportunity for us to have more conversations like this through technology. And I think that people could get a lot of value from our conversations, being a father and a son, being two people in the business world, being two people just trying to figure out life.
Absolutely. And I agree with everything you're saying, Brian. And what I've noticed is that I've had to slow down to speed up.
Well, as you say that, your internet is slowing down. So,
See, the universe is conspiring. So is my internet still gone?
you're back.
Yeah. And what has prompted you and I have spoken about doing something like this for the last 2 years. And we've had talk and we've chatted. And now is the first time that there's real time.
Mm.
So it took the world to close down to wake me up
Mm.
to what we could really do. And I'm truly excited because I love when we chat, and you and I are involved in a call with our below the line gang on a Friday, and we can see the value in that brings to a group when we're involved in a group. So I would love us to be doing this and creating a space where people can join in on future conversations, where we can bring them the experience of our podcasts or the videos, the book recommendations that people give us, and the life experiences we're having. That's what I'd love to be sharing. But I'm hoping to learn from you as I go on a continuous basis, as I have been learning, is to see the world through a 29, 30-year-old and what's happening, and the new things you're experiencing and bringing me to and challenging me with, and keeping me fresh and alive in that regard. So whilst I might bring you some experience, you're bringing me the value of a fresh way of looking at it and a new way of being. So that excites me as I've watched you and learned from you so far. So I just want to do more. And the thought of sharing that with people is really exciting. So just instead of learning it for me and then thinking I've learned that from my son, is not amazing, to be learning it with a tribe,
Yeah.
and having that tribe experience kind of their lives through experiences we're having or relating to them or getting references from us or recommendations from us, just as we would from podcasts or things that we're recommended to. So that's how I see it going. I'd love it, and like I'd love to be looking back in 10 years time and saying, wow, look when it started. Remember the night it started, balmy kind of Monday evening as you were starting work, I was finishing work, we kicked it off, and here we are now, and we have a fantastic tribe, an amazing load of experiences, and
Impacts a lot of people's lives.
yeah, lots of learning and crack, and that would be exciting for me.
And one thing that's coming up for me as we chat is we're both two straight white males. So I think that while a couple of years ago it's not something I would have been so conscious of, I think we need to be conscious that that is the position that we're coming from. And like, you know,
That's classy. I was thinking of that this morning. Um, and the only thing I can say to that is we can only come at life from where we come at. And we can bring it, so we are white and we are privileged and we have all of that. So we bring a certain perspective to life. And I believe because you and I have done some work on our consciousness and our spirituality and all that, that's part of what I'd like to be sharing.
mm-hmm.
And, you know, showing that we're not prejudiced, but yes, we may be ignorant to certain stuff that we haven't experienced.
That we want to learn about and we want to grow. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, I was talking to mom yesterday about, you know, we're Irish and traditionally we have emigrated all across the world, and now we're seeing so many people immigrate to Ireland, and we're having to learn we need to change our language in order to be more inclusive. And, you know, sometimes there's a joke in Ireland, you might ask someone who's of, you know, a different racial descent, so, you know, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Dublin. Where are you really from? By saying you know, referencing their skin color or their accent. And in the conversation, we were saying how, while there's no malicious intent behind that question, the question does have inbuilt prejudice in it. So it's important for us to learn how to change how we communicate in order to be more accepting of every type of person. And I think with everything that's going on with the Black Lives Matter movement in the US at the moment, I think it's something that is important to speak about. You know,
absolutely. And that's hugely relevant for now, Brian. However, if we had started this 2 years ago, it would be LGBT.
Yes, which is equally important, I think, is what you're saying.
Exactly. So I mean, there's so much prejudice, racial, you know, class, sexuality that is inherent in humans, because, you know, the madness of human race is that some people think they're better than others and that they're more entitled to than others. So absolutely. So like, I'm a white, straight, married, Western guy.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't. That's an accident of my birth.
Mm-hmm.
So now my job is to learn as much about what comes across me and what's out there, so that I can behave in a manner that's, you know, befitting humanity and bringing equality and bringing myself in the best way. So so absolutely. So we start by saying, yeah, we come from a privileged position in that, but then, you know, then I can go and say, well, we're from working class side.
Mm-hmm.
So you're now from middle class. So, like, you know, because people then would look and say, but yeah, but sure, you know, you came not far from, like, you know, your grandparents were in a council house.
Mm-hmm.
So
your grandparents?
My grandparents, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, so we're only, so like, we would have that kind of sense in Ireland right now that, you know, you're only a generation away from picking spuds anyway.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then it's what that means. And then like, the Irish were prejudiced against as they emigrated. And you can see
in London, you know, they had signs in pubs, no blacks, no dogs, no Irish. And that's a famous thing that Irish people say that reminds us of how we were discriminated against as well. And I'm not trying to say that we're also victims, just trying to say that it's I'm not sure what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's endemic in human nature to put people aside. And, you know, so the minute the Irish got halfway up a ladder, 2 steps up a ladder, they were kicking someone else down.
Yeah.
You know,
and the Irish became, in the US, for example, became more racist than the people in the US to try and fit in. So there's all that big mess of history that we're coming from as well, and trying to alleviate, trying to improve. But I think, like, as we speak about our personal experience, I think these kind of things will come up in our conversations, and I'm excited to, because, you know, sometimes over the dinner table you get to have these conversations, but sometimes you don't. And I think I'd be interested to hear how you approach these situations, and I think you'd be interested to hear how I approach them as well. So I think that that's something that's going to be really exciting, doing more videos or conversations or however we want to call it, is just to add another flavor to the conversation because we feel like we have something to add and something to contribute.
Let the conversations begin.
Let's do it. Well,
Right.
I'm sure we'll be posting these conversations on various types of social media, and we'll give everyone information where they can find us, where they can learn more. And this is just the start of something great, hopefully.